Hello everyone, as you know, my name's Jackie. Well, time's really flying, isn't it? And so I think that now's the time to start thinking about some little cakes for Christmas. Today, I'm going to show you how to make an easy peasy little snowman cake that you can make and enjoy with your children. So here we go. First of all, I have, of course, some icing sugar and the icing sugar shaker. I have a packet of white sugar paste. And I have here some strawberry jam. You can use any flavour or, perhaps Nutella if you think you'd prefer that. I have 2 little cupcakes. I have some Wilton decorating icing, and that's got a star nozzle on the end of it. I've got a spoon and a couple of knives, of course, the rolling pin. And here I have some coloured sugar paste, very small pieces. I've got some blue. I'm going to use that for my snowman's hat and scarf. You can choose whatever colour you want. I have some brown chocolate sugar paste here, which is going to be for the twigs. I have some orange, which will be for the carrot nose, and of course a tiny piece of black, which is going to be for the eyes. And last but by no means least, I have a blue pen that I'm going to use to make stripes on the scarf. So without further ado, let's get going. So I'm going to start off by sandwiching together our 2 little cupcakes, and as I told you, I'm going to use strawberry jam for this, but you can use whatever you like. And then I'm going to, with my sharp knife here, just trim off the hard edges around the cakes, exactly as we've done before, to make the 2 little cupcakes look something like a ball. That's it. There you go. I've put plenty of icing sugar on my board, and here I have my white sugar paste that I've rolled up into a nice little ball, and I'm going to roll that out like so. As always, we're going to keep the sugar paste moving around, just to make absolutely sure that it doesn't stick. Now for these cakes, I like to roll the sugar paste fairly thin, because otherwise everybody can get a bit of a sugar rush. There's quite a lot on here. So as you can see, I'm rolling this out nice and thin. I think that'll do the job. And now I'm going to take my little cupcake and I'm going to cut around it a rough circle, like so, and then I can discard the rest of the sugar paste, pop that to one side to make some other snowmen later. Okay, so you've done this before. We're going to gather up the sugar paste just like a bag. Like that. Cut off the surplus on the top. And then I'm just going to take that in my hand, roll it around until we get it into a nice uniform ball. And there we have our lovely little ball, which of course is going to be the body of our snowman. So next, I've taken a very small piece of white sugar paste and I'm rolling it up here into a ball. And you should be able to see the proportion there. And that of course is going to be my snowman's head. So I'm going to take our white decorating icing, put a little daub on there, like so, and we're just going to use this as glue actually this time. Quick and simple. And there we have the snowman with his head. So now I'm going to put some little buttons on our snowman's front. And for this, I'm going to take a tiny little piece of black sugar paste and I'm going to break off 3 little pieces. And I hope that you can see the proportions there. They're really very small. Roll them into little balls like this, and then I'm going to flatten them and they will be our buttons. They don't need to be perfectly identical because of course in the real world this would be young children picking up little stones and things to improvise. So we're really not looking to create perfection here. I'm just going to put the 3 little buttons down his front, like so, just like that. And then while I've got the black sugar paste to hand, I'm going to take the opportunity to make the snowman's eyes, which would normally be currants or something like that, or little stones. So again, 2 tiny little pieces of sugar paste just rolled into little balls, little dob of our edible glue on his face there. 1, 2, just like that, more or less where we want the eyes, and then just pop them on. Okay, brilliant. He's beginning to come to life already. I have a tiny little piece of orange sugar paste here, and of course when you're using such tiny quantities, there's no need to buy the coloured sugar paste, which can be a bit expensive. You can just colour your own with some food colouring. So what I've done here is I've broken this off, and as you can see, I'm moulding it into roughly a carrot shape, because of course snowman's noses are usually made out of carrots. So there we go. And I'm just going to put a dob of our edible glue on the end of our carrot and pop that on there, and that is our snowman's little nose, like so. And now I have our brown sugar paste. This is chocolate flavour sugar paste, that's rather yummy. And first of all I'm going to make a mouth. So I'm going to take a tiny piece again, I'm just going to roll it out so that it looks like a tiny little twig. Okay, hopefully you can see that. It's very small. And then just cut a piece off about the size that you're going to need for your snowman's mouth. And again, a little dob of edible glue. We don't need much because these things are very light, so they don't need to be held on very strongly. And there we have our snowman's mouth. So I'm going to continue here with our brown sugar paste, and I'm taking a slightly larger piece and just softening that up a bit, and I'm going to roll that out, and this is going to be the larger twigs for our snowman's arms. Okay, so just roll that out like that, ever so easy peasy, just like all the other things that we do here. I think that should be all right. And there's one little twig for an arm, so it's perhaps a little bit long actually. There's one, and I'm going to just put a bit of edible glue on the end there, and just pop his arm on there, like so. And then I'm just going to cut a piece off the other end of my twig. Again, little drop of edible glue, and I'm just going to stick that on the other side, like so. So next I'm going to make a little scarf for our snowman, and for this I've chosen some bright blue sugar paste. You can of course choose whatever colour you want, and what I'm going to do first of all, once I've made this nice and soft, is I'm going to roll it into a long cylinder shape, a bit like we did for our twigs. And what I'm looking for is for the cylinder to be long enough to go around our snowman's neck with a bit to spare. So it will be just long enough to be a scarf. So you can easily measure that just by draping it over like so, and I can see that I've got plenty there. So I'm going to take my rolling pin. I have a baby rolling pin, which is nice and a little bit easier, less cumbersome to use for these smaller jobs. And I'm going to roll this out into a nice flat piece, like so. Nice and thin. And you're probably going to find that you'll just want to trim off the edges there to make it nice and straight. So you're probably going to want to just trim off the edges there, the rough edges, after you've rolled it out to make it nice and straight. Like so. Have a little measure and then just cut off any excess. colour. My snowman likes to wear stripes, so this is where my edible ink pen comes in. And what I'm going to do is just put some stripes on his scarf, like so. And again, it really doesn't need to be perfect because when it's wrapped around his neck, there's going to be some drape in it anyway. So this is a very nice, quick and easy thing to do. Here we have my scarf. I am going to now just cut into the edges like so to fray the edges of the scarf. I think you can see there, and I'm just fanning it out. I'm going to do exactly the same the other end. Just going to cut along the edges to fray it, like so. And then I'm just going to take my scarf and I'm going to drape it around Snowy here to keep him nice and warm. Okay, there he is. And we're just going to take a dab of our edible glue and just pop it there to make sure that the ends don't break off, because it's always the ends of these pieces that are a little bit fragile. So it just reinforces the sugar to make sure it doesn't break when it dries. That's it, excellent. So far so good, nearly there. Finally, I am going to make a little hat for our snowman, and of course it's going to match his scarf. So I've got my bright blue sugar paste here. Again, I'm going to break a piece off, just roll it round into a ball, and then the way that I'm going to make his hat is that I'm going to just press my thumb up into the ball, and I'm going to mould a little hat shape on my thumb, and I hope you can see there what I'm doing. I'm using my thumb basically as a guide to improvise for Snowy's head. I'm going to end up there with a little, what's going to be a bobble hat. Keep him nice and warm. So you just need to manipulate that a little bit with your fingers until you think it's about the right size to pop it onto Snowy's head. So I think that just about fits. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to take it off again. Again, get some of my edible glue. I'm going to put it around the inside of the hat there and pop it back on his head. And there he is. Nice and snuggly buggly. And this is where my lovely Wilton's decorating icing comes in. Nice, quick and easy way to decorate things without the hassle of the icing bags. And what I'm going to do here is just squeeze a nice little fur trim around the front of Snowy's hat, all the way around the edge, like so. So here's our little snowman, as promised, and just to finish him off, we're going to have a little bit of snow. So there we go, ta-da! Little Snowy for you to make and enjoy with your children for Christmas. I hope you liked that. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you also for liking us and sharing. We have about 2,500 views now on YouTube and lots and lots of likes on our Facebook page. So it's really exciting, and I'm really, really pleased to know that you are enjoying watching these videos. Please keep liking and sharing, and don't forget to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Next time I'm going to continue with our Christmas theme, and I'm going to show you how to make a little Santa. See you soon.